Today we are going to cover 5 mines with different types of operation, each in its own disturbing and effective way. Also, we will tell you about some models which have terrifying features and are feared for different ways of affecting their victims. Let's begin. Number 1. Bouncing mines. Bouncing mines are a type of anti-personnel mine designed to be more deadly by launching into the air before exploding. They rely on causing lethal injuries through shrapnel rather than the explosion. One of the first examples is the German Bouncing Betty or S mine, notoriously used in the Second World War and even earning the nickname the castrator. Why castrator? Well, because upon being triggered, it will bounce upwards about 1 meter before exploding at waist level. There are many models operating on this principle, and one of the most feared is the Yugoslav Prom-1 bouncing landmine. Activated by stepping on it or triggering with a tripwire, the Prom-1 would launch itself up to about the height of a stomach and detonate. Because it is loaded with a significantly higher amount of explosive than any other anti-personnel mine, it is deadly to everyone within a 30-meter radius and causes horrific injuries. If that isn't enough, it is particularly hard to deactivate and easy to trigger if found. Number 2. Explosive anti-personnel mines. These are the type of mines that first come to mind when mentioning mines. They use explosives to destroy or incapacitate enemy infantry. However, depending on the amount of explosive and the mode of activation, they are more or less dangerous to their victims. For example, the Russian PMN-1 landmine is an infamous example of an anti-personnel mine designed for maximum lethality. The combination of a light trigger and heavy explosive load makes it a feared mine among soldiers. It is also cheaply made and easy to manufacture, allowing it to be planted in great numbers. When a pressure plate is pressed with just 5 to 8 kilograms, 11 to 18 pounds, it activates approximately 100 grams of TNT, which is a lot more than a standard anti-personnel landmine. This mine does not aim to wound but to kill, or cause such horrific injuries that it might be better for its victim to not survive the wounds. Its blast creates a lethal radius of detonation and shrapnel of several meters. It is also hard to deactivate due to its light trigger, and the newer model, PMN-2, has the same explosive power, but with more plastic material, making it even harder to detect. Number 3. Toe poppers. This type of mine is designed not to kill, but to injure its victim to such an extent that they are incapacitated for combat and require several other people to be taken out of action to help and evacuate them, thus causing more damage to the enemy than killing a single soldier. However, do not be fooled. These wounds are still brutal and terrible, and they usually completely destroy the victim's foot and the lower part of the leg below the knee. The problem with them is that although not a large amount of explosive is used, they still have the power to blow up a boot and the bones beneath it, turning flesh into a mush mixed with soil and shrapnel. Such a detonation separates flesh from bone and pushes the muscle upwards, completely destroying the foot, and often the only solution is amputation below the knee. They are even harder to detect because they are small and often made of plastic and materials that cannot be detected by standard methods. One of the most well-known examples of a toe popper mine is the M14. The M14 is a small plastic-bodied anti-personnel mine containing a minimal amount of explosives, about 31 grams of tetryl. It is triggered by pressure on its top plate, needing only about 9 to 16 pounds of force to activate. This sensitivity means that even a small disturbance can trigger an explosion. Another example is the so-called butterfly mine, for instance, the PFM-1. These are generally delivered by airdropping in large quantities and spread over a wide area as they fall. They are made primarily of plastic, with a very small amount of metal. Each mine contains a liquid explosive which is detonated when around 5 to 8 kilograms, 11 to 18 pounds, of pressure is applied. The design ensures that the mine can lie active for years, posing a threat long after the war. These mines are small and made from brightly coloured plastic, making them deceptively harmless looking, with many cases of curious children finding them, sadly causing them horrific injuries. Number 4. Directional mines. Directional mines are used to provide perimeter defence and to ambush enemy forces. Unlike conventional landmines, which explode upwards or in all directions, directional mines are designed to focus their explosive force in a specific direction, creating a lethal zone in front of the mine. The most iconic example of a directional mine is the M18 Claymore Mine, widely recognised for its distinct curved rectangular shape and its use by the US military and other forces around the world. The Claymore Mine contains 700 steel balls layered over an explosive compound. When detonated, it projects these steel balls in a 60-degree arc, effectively covering a kill zone of up to 100 metres, 328 feet, in front of the mine. It is designed to be triggered manually via a wired remote control or automatically by a tripwire, providing flexibility in how and when it explodes. The Claymore is intended primarily for defensive measures against advancing troops. It can inflict massive casualties within its effective range, making it a formidable barrier during combat. Number 5. Anti-tank mines. We've all heard of anti-tank mines and their function. However, there are some that are very creative in the way they operate. The most common type of these mines requires a significant amount of weight to detonate, typically that of a tank or heavy vehicle. They contain large explosive charges to penetrate armoured vehicles and can cause catastrophic damage to machinery and personnel. One that operates on a completely different principle, and probably one you've never heard of, is the Russian TM-83. This is an off-route anti-tank mine that uses a directional fragmentation warhead. It can be mounted on a stand and directed towards an expected vehicle path. The mine detects the presence of a vehicle through seismic or acoustic sensors and fires an explosive-shaped charge capable of penetrating side armour as the vehicle passes by. It doesn't even need to be on the road you are driving down, and when you think you are safe, it hits you from the side, making soldiers panic thinking it was an RPG and that there is an ambush, where in reality it's just an off-route mine. Also, mines can be cunningly booby-trapped to increase lethality and make demining even harder. A hand grenade with its safety pin removed could be placed under the mine, so that if a deminer lifted the mine, the hand grenade would explode. Mines may also be interconnected via tripwires, so disturbing one sets off another, creating a larger and unpredictable blast area. Some mines are designed to explode not on pressure, but upon its release, confounding typical disarmament methods. False layers and anti-handling devices like tilt switches add another layer of danger, turning mine clearance into a perilous task that demands the utmost caution.